Hey guys, I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com. The QWERTY-based smartphones, they keep coming out. On one hand, you have the Motorola CLIQ announced at CES. It's in the house now, and it's a huge improvement over the original CLIQ device. Better display, Android 2.2, better keyboard, all around, build quality much better than the original device. On the other hand, you have the T-Mobile G2, awesome device. It's right up there with the T-Mobile MyTouch 4G, the Nexus S, and some of the other high-end devices on T-Mobile. Which one's going to win? We're going to find out in the dogfight. But first, special thanks to our friends at Best Buy Mobile. They've hooked us up with two of these and two of these so we can give them to you in the One Paw Bandit game. One thing I like about Best Buy Mobile, you walk out working. So if you go in to buy either one of these, they'll help you set up your email, set up your web, and make sure you're walking out working. Enough of that. Let's get into the dogfight. Let's take a look at the browsers on both of these devices, and you'll see some minor changes because one's running a skin and one isn't. But we'll go to PhoneDog here. There we go. We'll jump into PhoneDog here. And you can see while those are loading. Now both of these are Android 2.2 devices. Both are running Flash out of the box, so you can see the advertisements loading up. Now a lot of people are like, why don't you turn Flash off as a demonstration? I have no problem turning Flash off, but the thing is, this is how they come out of the box. So for somebody that's new to this device, this is what it looks like. So I would rather, keep it like this versus turning it off and, showing people that, something that their device isn't at least out of the box. You can always turn Flash off, or you can turn it on demand as well. So keep in mind when you see my pinch to zoom test that I'm about to do, you can turn that, you can turn the Flash on and off, and it'll make it a little bit faster. That said, it's relatively quick on the G2. Even with Flash running, that's certainly a decent speed, and of course it works well in portrait or in landscape mode. Double tap to zoom in. Double tap. Double tap. Oops, I didn't mean to click on the article, but you can see me zooming in there, and then you can see me zooming in and out there as well. So very fast on, reasonably fast on both of these devices. You notice some minor changes when you go into the browser configuration stuff, but nothing big. Like you have refresh here. Go back actually. For the most part, actually, these are very similar across the board. Whereas with the HTC Sense devices, you'll notice some of these icons move around. Actually, I take that back. These are identical, but you have your bookmarks button up there as well, and then go to more for advanced browser settings. So both very good browsing experiences. Both have 3.7-inch displays, so you're not, it's a tie there to me. Both of those work very, very well. Let's take a look at the phone applications just to show you the differences between some of these. And you can see that the buttons are a little bit spaced here. Both are island keys, but you'll see a prime difference here on the CLIQ 2 as opposed to the G2. You'll see this little black area, and you dial, and the numbers going there. But this little black area, when you dial 555, for example, you notice that it brings up 3 matches. It's pulling numbers from my contacts list and saying, okay, out of all the numbers that have 555, which match does he want? And then when I dial the second 5, it brings up 1 match. It knows that I want the PhoneDog. You can also do it by name, so THE, and it brings up PhoneDog, as you can see. You don't have that on the G2 on this screen, but once you can dial like normal there, and then you have the same or very similar call logs, things of that nature up at the top. So you don't get that on the G2. There's no place to see that, but they both have the similar tabs up at the top. You have your recent and your call log just worded differently. Contacts, favorites as well there, and contacts and favorites up here. Now let's jump into the contacts just to see the differences there. Let's go into contacts, and then we'll go into people here. And you can see on the Blur platform, you have the option to check social status and history all around. And then when we go specifically into Billy Bob, you can see his number, you can see contact visibility, you can see the linked profiles that the Google one is linked. And then, of course, you can, within the contact, check social networking, check info, and check history. It's not as functional as HTC Sense's platform, where you scroll down through the bottom and you can see in a very organized manner messages, emails, missed calls, etc. But it's decent, it's doable. Let's take a look at contacts here, and we'll open up Aaron Baker, for example. Very simple, very straightforward, very stock Android. It has the picture icon at the top for picture. Favorites, call message, call home, and then of course you can edit, share the contact, and then you can add additional fields. So it's very clean, very easy to use, but still it's missing that organizational touch that HTC Sense has. So on to the Android market on both of these devices, and if you have an Android device right now, you'll know they did some minor revisions to the Android market. It's not as drab, it's much more colorful, and they're minor things like the headers changed, as you can see if you haven't already. There's a carousel up top, and you'll see that the apps are organized and grouped in the same way. It's just a nice organizational change. Apps, games, T-Mobile, and one thing I like about it is, in both portrait and in landscape mode, it looks great, whereas before, it kind of got a little weird when it went into landscape mode. It looks much better, in my opinion, in landscape mode. So you download something like Walgreens, let's say, and you can see the description, you can see the reviews all in one easy spot, you can see the screenshot samples, related developer info, and then market content you can flag as inappropriate. Now when you hit install, instead of going straight to that second page and asking you to access, etc., 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 it just brings it up down here, and then once I hit OK, it starts installing. I do want to cover just really quickly the Gmail changes. I know, if you watch my videos, you see me cover this a million times, so I'll keep it quick. But you have your two differences up here where you can access your accounts, access your inbox, or different folders. And of course, this has 2.2 as well, so you can do this on the CLIQ 2. But when you scroll up, the header stays at the top as opposed to Android 2.1 devices where it scrolls down with the email. Halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, you wonder who sent it. You can see it there, and then you have the option to reply from the header as opposed to scrolling down to the bottom like on Android 2.1 devices. So nice little minor improvements, nothing major, but still great to see. Let's take a look at the camera. 5-megapixel camera on both of these devices, and we'll bring in my sunglasses just as a sample picture test to see. Both 5-megapixel cameras, both have flash capability, or both have a flash. And let's see, we'll autofocus in, take a picture, and then we'll autofocus in on this one and take a picture. Both of these have physical camera buttons, as I said, which is a very nice feature. Let's pull that up. Okay, so you can see we'll go back into that picture and take a look at it. Here's what it looks like on the CLIQ 2. Here's what it looks like on the G2, and you can see the differences. The G2 activated the flash. The CLIQ 2 did not. Let me actually go back and do another one with the flash turned off because I want to make it fair. Let's see here. There we go. Turn flash off. Let's go back. Take a second picture. Okay, that's better. So we'll go back up here, go into the gallery, and you can see the differences between these two pictures. Both are good, but based on just what I'm seeing right here, I'd have to give, a very slight edge at that because they're both not the greatest cameras, honestly, or neither are the greatest, but I would hand it to the CLIQ 2. I'm still not a fan of the camera on the CLIQ 2, but I think in this picture example, it actually came out better. The colors are a little bit more realistic. They're not washed out. You can see the silver rim of the glasses very easily, and just general texture things appear to be more clear to me on the G2 as opposed to on the CLIQ 2 as opposed to the G2. That said, I actually don't prefer the cameras on either one of these devices. If you're looking for a device just for its camera, this is not the CLIQ 2 or the G2 are not your devices. Time for quadrant standard test, and several of you have pointed out in the comments and on YouTube, things like that quadrant standard is not the most reliable speed test. I'm currently looking into other options, and I will get back to you and let you know. Hopefully in the next video or two, we'll try out a couple of different ones and see how well those perform as opposed to quadrant standard. This time around, we're going to do quadrant standard and quadrant standard alone. So we'll run the full benchmark right now, and just to get a rough idea. I've been very pleased with both of these devices. Obviously, they're both T-Mobile, so performance has been very good across the board. Love the earpiece volume. The G2, fantastic when I tested it for the review a couple of months ago. Motorola CLIQ 2, fantastic. I got it in about a week ago. Been working with it. They've both been in dead spots, and they performed very well. I can't remember, actually dropping a call. It gets choppy when I go through, but I can't recall a time in which I've actually dropped one. So keeping that in mind, I've been very pleased. HSPA plus speeds on the G2 have been kind of disappointing, whereas data speeds, oddly enough, on the CLIQ2 have been very consistent. I'm consistently in, I'd say, 3 megabits per second range here, whereas who knows on the G2? It depends on the day, depends on the hour, depends on the minute. So we'll do those speed tests in a minute just to get an idea, but you can see the G2 comes in at 1,506, so very similar to the Evo Shift 4G on Sprint, and faster than other industry champions like the Droid X and the Motorola Evo 4G, the original one. On this one, so 1506 on that one. On this one, you have 790. So, even though in day-to-day tasks you're not going to experience a slowdown, if you're messaging, you're emailing, you're browsing the web, you probably will see a slowdown if you're gaming or you're doing anything that's graphically intense. So keep that in mind. Much faster, almost double the speed, actually double the speed of the CLIQ2 there. So let's take a look at speed test real quick, and then we'll sign off from there to get an idea of the network speeds. Now, this is an HSPA Plus device. So, I would expect faster network speeds. This is an HSPA Plus market. So we'll do a quick test and see which one performs better. Let's begin that test. And let's see. Again, cell site is right here. I literally have a cell site I'm staring at out the window right now. So you can see, consistently very fast on the download on the CLIQ2, 3.2 megabits per second. Then on the upload, you're pulling, it's a little bit of a low number, but 253 kilobits per second, as opposed to 1,000 or about 1.1 megabits per second on this one. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with both of these devices, the CLIQ2 and the G2. I have more dogfights scheduled throughout the week with the CLIQ2 since it's a new device, but only one can be the winner. So I'm awarding it to the T-Mobile G2. In terms of specs, in terms of keyboard, in terms of build quality, it is the better device of these two. That's not to say that the CLIQ2 is a bad device at all. In fact, I like it a lot. But in terms of all of the above, I think the CLIQ2 is a better device, and better yet, if you can get it at $100 on that Even More plan, it's $100 well spent, and it's worth it over the $100 that this costs. Now, if you're in an Even More Plus plan, you're like, should I spend $400 for this or $500 for the G2? For a lot of people, I think you'd be happy with the CLIQ2. So, keep it in mind. Take a look at both of these at the T-Mobile store. But in terms of just specs and overall build quality, everything that we've compared today, the G2 is the winner. 1,420 milliamp battery here, 1,300 milliamp battery here, but both hold their own in terms of battery life as well. So keep it locked on the site for continuing coverage. Be sure to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PhoneDog. We continue to give away cool prizes, so like us and be sure to follow our interesting sweepstakes information. Stay tuned for more exciting contests in the coming days. Be sure to follow me on Twitter as well, PhoneDog_Aaron. Ask me any questions you have. You think this is the best dogfight ever? You think this is the coolest phone ever? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.